In the heart of an old forest, where sunlight danced in dappled steps and moss draped over rocks like forgotten shawls, stood a young tree with bright green leaves and restless dreams. Each morning he listened to birds speak of distant lands and shifting skies, and he imagined so vividly that one day he too might wander. He longed to cross the hills that carved the edge of the world, to see rivers twist like silver ribbons and mountains kiss the sky with snowy crowns. But no matter how fiercely he wished, Emberheart's roots held fast, tangled deep in the soil of his birth. He could not roam, only reach. And so he grew, not outward but inward, storing stories in his rings and yearning in his branches. One evening, as the sun dipped low and he was once again dreaming of far-off places, clouds shaped like ships, skies that hummed with unknown birdsong, a strange stillness fell, the usual whispers of leaves, the gentle murmur of the forest settling into dusk, all faded. The breeze arrived sharp and dry, carrying not adventure but alarm. No birdsong, no rustling branches, just the bitter crackling scent of smoke riding the wind. Then came the fire. Red-tongued and furious, it leapt from tree to tree, devouring bark and sky alike. Emberheart trembled, not in fear, but in purpose. Though he could not run, he could stand. He spread his leaves as wide as he could, casting trembling shade over frightened creatures that scurried beneath. Fox kits, sparrows, a doe with 2 tiny fawns. His roots dug deeper, anchoring him with every ounce of strength. He would not let the fire pass. Not here. As the heat wrapped around him like a cruel cloak, Emberheart summoned something ancient and brave. He released every drop of water he had stored in secret places, droplets falling like summer rain onto the greedy flames. From beneath his roots pulled coolness from forgotten aquifers, feeding the thirsty ground. And then, a wonder happened. The trees nearby, older and taller, sensed his signal. One by one, they followed his lead, releasing moisture, locking limbs together, creating a living barrier of bark and courage. Their unity swelled like a wave, and the fire, hungry and wild, met its match. Where it raged, they cooled. Where it pressed, they stood. And at last, led by Emberheart, the forest triumphed. But the cost was heavy. Emberheart, the young tree who had only ever dreamed of walking, gave everything he had. His limbs sagged and smoldered, his trunk split with a sigh, and his crown slumped in ash-streaked silence. He did not fall. He simply stopped. The forest froze. Then softly, it stirred. Branches leaned toward him. Creatures gathered, owl, fox, bear, beetle, forming a circle around the one who had stood when all else shook. The trees bowed low, the wind hushed, and from deep beneath the roots a green-gold glow began to rise. The guardian of the grove had awakened. Light crept into Emberheart's bark, humming through every scorched ring, whispering warmth where the cold had crept in. The animals pressed close. Leaves rustled like a lullaby. The earth itself held its breath. Then, movement, a tremor. A leaf unfurled from a blackened bough, soft and shining with dew. Emberheart lived, and when the fire had faded and morning light warmed the ash, the forest stood still. Smoke curled like sleepy ribbons. The ground, dusted with gray, held quiet. At the center stood Emberheart, scarred but rising. His bark bore the memory of flame. Yet from one branch a single leaf reached skyward, fresh with dew. The trees leaned close. Creatures gathered in silence. Owl, fox, bear, beetle. Feathers and petals were placed gently at his roots. Even the oldest oak bowed, letting fall a golden leaf. From that day on, every tree near his shade grew a flame-shaped leaf, bright with memory, steady with promise. And so the tale of Emberheart lived on, not just in story, but in every act of quiet courage, in every tree that stood when the world asked it to fall. So remember the name. Emberheart, Emberheart the brave.